Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson. And by the way, it's not all in your head, just in case you were wondering. We want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever, ever alone. And here on Invisible Condition, we get it. I was born with an invisible condition. Almost 99.9% of our guests have been, dealing with an invisible. We get it. Okay, life can be hard. It really can. The thing is, we also know that there is always hope. And so that is where I choose to operate. That is where so many of my guests and so many of our sponsors and things choose to operate, because we like to live in a world with hope. And so join us. Join us, won't you? It's better here. It's better with hope. I want to talk to you just for a second about a couple things, and we're going to dive right in here, bring the guest on that's here today and dive in. First thing, Hydro with Hope is the nonprofit side of Invisible Condition. That is our nonprofit, and it is there to help families that are dealing with the condition that I was born with, which is called hydrocephalus. And this is a very crazy condition, ridiculously common, but really crazy to live with sometimes, because it often involves brain surgery. I've had 7 so far, starting at 2 weeks old, and the last one was about 3 years ago. So it can be quite a wild ride. The thing is, there's also help out there, and Hydro with Hope could be that help for you. We have a journal that we publish to walk people kind of through that process of surgery and, oh my gosh, what do we do now? We like to help individuals, on a individual basis. I don't know why I said it that way. That sounded kind of weird. To kind of like help you along with this, and all that takes money. And so nonprofit doesn't mean no profit. And so we have actually expanded our board. But if you know anybody that would also like to help, if they'd like to donate, or if they'd like to help with the board or help with anything that we're doing, drop me an email at this address right here. And I would love to talk to them. And at the same time, we are also, it's a TV show. There are ads, there are commercials, there are sponsors. This is an amazing place to get your message out to our growing, incredible audience. And so if you are a business that would like to do that, please let me know. I'll send you a little information, and then let's meet on a Zoom call and talk about it. All right, here we go. I am excited to introduce you to Mike Wood. Mike experienced anxiety and depression for years and described not being able to control his mind. Man, okay. Anybody that says has never been there is a liar. I've been there. It's hard to control your mind sometimes. He's now been on a spiritual journey for about the last 6 years to solve this challenge, and is the founder of Learn to Love Being You, which is cool. We're going to dive into that during the show. Mike's goal is to help people take control of their thoughts and emotions and heal from their past pain and trauma. My tongue just got tied in a knot there for a second. Let's get Mike on the show here. Here we go. Welcome, Mike. Thank you so much for being here, man. This is going to be fun.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. This is good stuff. And by the way, I'm going to put this up here first. By the way, thank you up for audience. If you, no matter where you're watching, if you're watching on, Arion TV through A360, Facebook, YouTube, that's the wrong side. Any of these platforms, wherever you're watching, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And if you have a comment or a question or a light bulb goes off and you want to talk to Mike, these are great places to do that. Also, this is Mike's website, QR code to make it super easy for you to get there. And so if you have any questions, there's a way to contact him through that. So we'll dive into more of that a little bit later. I have a question for you, Mike, to kick things off. I ask everybody this question. There's no wrong answer. It's always awesome. in the throes of the, of anxiety, depression, of like when you were at your low point, in that journey, how did you maintain hope?
I guess my kids, just, have to push forward for my kids. That
Yeah,
was the biggest thing for me, that when I didn't have the ability to love myself, I was able to find the love for my kids and my family to push me forward.
nice. I love it, man. It's a great answer. It's true. I mean, I've got 3 kids myself, and it's true. You look at them, and it's I don't know. It's almost like you can't be depressed if you look at your kids, man. You just look at them
Yeah,
and
no
smile,
excuses. They got to eat, right?
right?
They got to eat. You got to go to work. You can't complain. You got to do it better, make it better for them. Like, there's so many ways
Right.
to look at it. But yeah, that was it for me when I was at my darkest. My kids
Yeah.
made
Nice.
me push forward. Yeah.
I love it. That's a good reason. I love it. Well, so you've been sharing your life with anxiety and depression for years. You've been talking, sharing it with people. Take us back to when it was, when you realized this is what's going on. Oh my gosh, this is the low
Yeah.
point. This is where we are. What do we do now? What was, take us back there, kind of walk us forward from there.
So if I'm being honest, it hit depression and anxiety hit me the worst in my early 20s, and that's what I was telling you. My kids pulled me out of it, but I don't know that it ever left me. And I had these false illusions that the next thing was going to make me happy. Well, if I found a better job, if I found my soulmate, if I was able to get a job to where my wife could stay at home and make a little more money, all these things in front of me, all these accomplishments, I thought they were going to make me happy. And Jeff, I have achieved everything out in front of me. The only thing left for me to do is retire and die. And I was still miserable. And that just, honestly, it pissed me off. Once I realized I had that awakening or that awareness that, wait a minute, there's nothing left in front of me. What am I to do? And, the universe started talking to me, telling me to turn my focus inward. And that was a game changer. And I was able to find solutions once I did that.
Nice. That's awesome. It's true. Sometimes that's what you got to do. I was literally just recording a show just before we sat down, and it's so funny because the guest that I had on that show was saying almost the exact same thing in a totally different context. It's true. When you figure out what's inside, and and dive in there a little bit, it's amazing what'll come to you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Society kind of has it, all these things. Everybody's trying to sell something, and they're basically selling, hey, you're going to be happy if you go buy this, or you get this new car, or you get this house, or you get this vacation place, or you go to this place. All that stuff is temporary. It's not going to bring permanent happiness.
No, exactly. That's all crap, man. It's true.
Yeah.
If you're looking outside for that, you're barking up the wrong tree, man. You're going to be looking forever.
Yes.
There was actually, I think I even saw a special on, I think it was well timed. Came out right before, I think it was like at the very beginning of December on Netflix or something. And it was something along those lines. It was like never enough. There's always the next thing that you're striving for and going for, and the advertising industry is brilliant at doing that. The typical, cable, shows that have that on there is really smart with that.
Yeah, they're brilliant. They figured out life, and they know where people are at, what they need. They need the next fix.
They're like masters in discontentment or something, it's like, but most people probably don't realize that, or maybe they do, and they just don't want to acknowledge it, that childhood, your stuff in your childhood impacts you as an adult. Most people know that, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that. We think we understand it at some superficial level, but the reality is that the subconscious mind has no concept of time. So whatever happened to
True.
you as a child is still happening right now. There is only the present moment. There's only this moment we have right here. And the subconscious, whatever happened in the present moment when you were 5 happened in the present moment, and it's still here right now. So yeah, that stuff doesn't leave you. You could say I forgive myself, or I'm over this, until you go back to that 5-year-old and relive that moment, reframe it. It's not leaving.
See, and there's so many methods out there that I've talked to so many people over the last couple of years of hosting this show, and there's so many people, and they're so convinced that their way is the right way. And it's funny because there's so many different ways to deal with that, to address that. And it, because I mean, what EFT and tapping and NLP and, hypnotism and all that, like there's all this stuff out there and everybody thinks that's the way. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're an individual. I'm an individual. What works for you might not be the best solution for me.
Absolutely. And so the fundamental, just law of the way that humans are built is you have a subconscious mind, and those memories and those moments get in there. And in order to get back to it, you have to open up the subconscious mind. And you can use all those tools that you're talking about, the EDMR and a lot of the other methods. They're all doing the same thing. Buddhists have been teaching this for 2,500 years, and there's a lot of different methods. And I started going to a guy who was doing this with me, helping me heal from my past trauma. Yeah. And as I went through it and then did it, well over 100 times myself, I developed my own process, a writing process that anybody could do that I want to give to everybody as part of my program. And I was paying $240 a week to go do a session and do this. And, everybody should have access to this, because once you do it once through a writing exercise, you can do it for free forever. Once you know how to do it, you can do it. But it's all these other ones, they do work. Some work better than others, depending on who you are, but they're on to something. They're going to the source of the problem. Traditional therapy is extremely good and helpful in a lot of different ways, but it's dealing with the symptom. Right? It's not dealing with the source of the problem. Going back to those old core beliefs and rewriting them, reframing them with compassion, love, and forgiveness takes it out of what I call the fear bucket and moves it into the love bucket, to where the subconscious mind doesn't hold on to it anymore. You're not being punished by a positive memory anymore. Now it's in the love bucket. So it's not causing you any pain in this moment anymore. And you're able to just move on, and that memory doesn't cause any pain. Now you're going to have some more to deal with, but the more we go in and the more we make this a practice over a couple, 2 or 3 years, we're not the same person. The random negative thoughts that come into our head that seem random, they're not random. They're coming back from the present moment of the past. And now all of a sudden that starts to get thinned out, and we start to just, instead of being miserable for no reason, all of a sudden we're happy for no reason. And it's a beautiful thing. And that's I crossed over the last 2.5, 3 years, and I kind of live in that place for the most part. And I keep moving forward, and I'm still learning and I'm still progressing. But we should all be taught this at a very young age about how we actually work and how we operate. And that's my goal, is to help people learn to listen and understand how their mind and body works together to find a peaceful state of mind that we could live in all the time.
Nice. I love it. And is that so when people go to the website, when they click on that put that in their browser or scan that QR code, is that kind of what they're getting into? Is that information? Is there a way to get a hold of you? All that stuff.
Yep. There's a way to get a hold of me. You kind of get into this. You scan that QR code, it takes you to my course, and there's some promotional stuff, and it's all relatively new. I'm going to add some more stuff in there that talks a little more in detail about the program. So I'm in the beginning stages of this part. I've been building the program for the last 2.5 years. And over the last 2 months, it's gone live. And so I'm shifting gears into trying to promote it, but I'm still helping people, and I'm still doing a full-time job here at Jarrett Companies. So I've got a lot on my plate right now, but yeah, if you click on that QR link, it's going to lead you to a program that's going to manually help you shift your thoughts out of that fear bucket into the love bucket and right now, and then help you have some mental shifts on how you look at the world, kind of perspective changes. And then the last part of the program, we teach you how to go back and heal from the past pain and trauma that's causing you pain in the present moment.
That's awesome.
And that's the basic summarization of the course.
I love that. That reminds me of, I don't remember who told me about this, but it was somebody in one of those modalities that we just kind of rattled off before. And they were talking about, it's the difference between like going back and addressing that and then not having to deal with it ever again, because if you go back to 5 years old or 10 years old or whatever, address it there, takes care of it going forward, forever. And it's kind of like being afraid of the snarling dog on the sidewalk. You're walking by and there's that terrible, terrifying dog, and it's the difference between that or walking by and being afraid of it and being, and recoiling of even the thought of it, or walking by and going, oh, there's a dog, and walking past it.
Yes.
And not having the trauma with it. It's still the dog. There's still a dog there.
Yeah.
It's not traumatic anymore,
Exactly. I truly believe that it's become a knowing for me that the opposite of love is fear. And I think that's how the brain processes information is if you have a fearful thought, it's going to put you into a state where you're producing cortisol and put you on high alert to try to protect yourself. But if you just shift it manually into I'm grateful for this, if we sat here and played the grateful game, what I call it, grateful, and you just say what you're grateful for, I say what I'm grateful for the next 10 minutes, our brain is going to manually shift over into making oxytocin, and we're going to be drug-induced happy for no reason, just because we've been having positive thoughts. That it's how we are chemically made. We're going to either be in a fear state or a loving, compassionate state based off the content of our thoughts, which is kind of amazing, right? Like we get to choose the thoughts that we're having, and then that induces a chemical based off of those thoughts that we're having.
Right.
Wow.
I know.
We should all know this.
I mean, we probably do at some level. I mean, we know when we feel happy, we know when we feel scared, we know when we feel sad, or whatever. I just don't think we know why. And I think that's where all that what you just said there, I think is huge, because that'll help you figure out why. Yeah. And that'll give you the tools to actually put you there on purpose.
Yeah, because it gives people hope. Just like you said in your intro, it was beautiful. Like if you're in the darkness, you just think these thoughts are negative and it's going to be that way forever. You become hopeless and you just deal with it. This is the way life is. But when you start to realize, wait a minute, I can take control, all of a sudden the light goes off. Well, I need to go towards this thing. The light at the end of the tunnel is not a train. And I can find some salvation if I just push through this. And then, okay, now you're on a journey and it's not going to be easy. But if you do put in the work, you could get to that other side and live a life that is the scales of justice. The scales can get tipped in your favor to where you're living a peaceful, joyful life. Now, I haven't been able to completely eliminate those negative feelings, but what I can do is the moment I have them, I could assess it and make it go away. The moment I know I'm not feeling right, all I got to do is sit with myself, go inward, and I have all the tools to make that go away. And then I'm right back to the joyful, wonderful feeling that I live 90% of my life now.
Love it. That's amazing. I want to talk more about those tools, man, because that's good stuff. But we're gonna go. But hold on just a second, everybody. Don't go too crazy. We're gonna go to a break real quick because we have sponsors that we want to talk about, and because you need to know about them because they're awesome. So we're gonna do that just for a couple of minutes, and we'll be right back. And then we're gonna dive in some more with Mike, and we're gonna. There's a question I wanted to ask you about being stuck in fight or flight, because that is where so many people find themselves right now. They don't even know fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Those four right there. Most people leave the last two off and they don't even know what that means. So to get unstuck from that is huge. So we'll cover it all later on the other side of the break, but stick around, please. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're trying it a little different today. We're going to talk about Dunamis Ministries, Dunamis Marriages for a second. And then we're going to bring Mike back. Dunamis Marriages is an amazing place, actually. And I will fully admit that I owe years of my marriage to this organization. They are absolutely phenomenal. And we didn't go there because we were in trouble. We went there because we knew it could always be better. Because anybody that's married knows that they are not the expert, and everything could always be better. Okay, how pompous are you to think that you couldn't have a better marriage than you have right now, even if it's awesome? So we're so excited that we went there and that we met Dr. Pauline Dillard, who has 42 years of marital wisdom under her belt, and she approaches it a little different. Well, a lot different. Most marriage counseling is kind of that once a week for 50 minutes and, our time is up. Sorry. Come back next week and we'll just rehash everything again. And sometimes that's valuable. What I prefer is the method that Pauline uses, which is an intensive model where you go for 4 to 5 to 6, maybe 5 or 6 sessions, and they're about 2 or 3 hours a piece. And by the end of that 5 or 6 weeks, you have tools in your possession that you don't have to go back. You don't have to go back to her because you have the tools that you can work through with you and your spouse on your own. And it's so powerful to have that and to know that you can work through it. And so I would highly recommend it, you reaching out to Dr. Pauline. Go to their website, which is dunamismarriages.com. That's DUNAMAS marriages.com. But act now, because it's not going to wait. Your marriage isn't going to wait for you. It's always a better deal it's always a better idea to act now. So build that marriage on a solid foundation and just enjoy your marriage like you never thought you could. It's phenomenal. I'm so thankful to Pauline that we did that, and you will be too. So, all right, we'll see you in just a second with Mike. Here we go.
Hey friends, this is Ben Hummel. I'm the host of the Genius Way Show, where you'll learn to access your inner gifts, talents, and callings, and how to express them out in the world. Join me here each Sunday at noon Pacific time on the Achieve TV network, right here on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back, and we are here with Mike Wood, and this is. I mean, I learned something in the first segment already, so I don't know about the rest of you, but I hope you're taking notes because this is good stuff. And thank you for being here, Mike. This is good stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's and I think we were we were kind of chatting at the very end of the segment there about talking about good Lord, my brain just fell out of my head. We were talking about fight or flight, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Nobody ever talks about those last two, but they're just as important, right? So what? Just give me an idea, give them an idea, give everybody an idea, kind of what those mean. And
absolutely. I think I have a very good understanding of how the subconscious mind again is working. And keep in mind, the subconscious mind is you trying to protect you. All right. So let's imagine that there's a 2-year-old kid walking along the edge of the pool. All right. The 2-year-old kid falls in the pool and almost drowns. Gets saved. It's the subconscious mind is going to hold that as a fearful memory because he had water in his lungs. He got scared. He got panicked. Thought maybe he was going to die because he couldn't breathe. Well, the subconscious mind is going to go, all right, that is a fearful memory that we got to hold on a very high level. Okay. So the next time that 2-year-old kid is walking along the edge of the pool, it's going to get away from that pool, make sure it doesn't fall in. So if you're understanding following that point, it's literally trying to protect us. The problem is that it's not just trying to protect us from things that are life or death. Anything that you attach to your ego, like if you are a husband, a parent, a host of a podcast, and you get somebody attacking any of these things that you attach to your ego, your subconscious mind is going to try to protect you the exact same way it's trying to protect that 2-year-old from falling in the pool again, because it doesn't know the difference between protecting your life and protecting your ego. Right. So now we get caught in this trap here where the subconscious mind is trying to protect us physically, but it's also trying to protect our ego from things that might just hurt our feelings or make us feel bad temporarily. But now it flares up involuntarily within us, and we don't know why. Yeah. And there's a couple simple things that we can do. But at the end of the day, if you could take those fearful thoughts and shift them out of the fear bucket and move them into the love bucket, it'll make that go away. Now, that's not necessarily as easy as I'm making it sound, but when you use compassion, love, and forgiveness, and reframe anything that's happening to you in those 3 things, especially the forgiveness one, it shifts those things out of that fear bucket and puts them into the love bucket, and the subconscious mind will just relax, calm down, and get you out of that fight or flight moment that we're stuck in, that we don't know why we're stuck in. So I've got a 10-year-old little boy. I got 7 kids, all right? And I taught them all different things, taught them basketball, tried to teach them life, tried to do different things. But since I've gone on my spiritual transformation, this last 10-year-old, who's 10 years apart from everybody else, is getting a different gift, right? Yeah. He's getting to learn things and experience life. And he'll come home with a kid who pushed him down the day before and doesn't want to go back to school the next day. Literally 2 seconds after he forgives the kid, he's fine, ready to go back to school. He's shifting it out of the fear bucket, putting it in the love bucket just by forgiving the kid, because he knows that people in pain, they cause pain. And just like I like to use the phrase that Jesus used, but I forgive them for they know not what they've done. But those 2 sentences, I forgive you for you know not what you've done, and people in pain, they cause pain, covers everything. Like you can literally forgive anyone for anything by using just those 2 phrases. Right. And so my son, I'm watching it in him in real time. All you have to do is, if somebody is causing you pain and you're in that fight or flight moment, all you have to do is reframe what's happening with compassion and forgive that person, maybe forgive yourself, forgive anybody else who's in the middle of this causing you pain, and it'll take you out of fight or flight just like that every time. Yeah, exactly. Well, and the other 2 lesser known ones are the freeze and the fawn. And freeze is kind of similar to fight or flight, but it's when you can't really go anywhere. You're stuck and you don't know why you're stuck, And the fawn, correct me if I'm wrong, fawn is more the people pleasing side of things, right? Like you're
taking care of others at the expense of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll address the freeze. I would put that in the fear and love bucket. But
Yep.
the fawn, I would say, is completely different. That's not being authentic.
No.
And if you're not being authentic with yourself, you're literally lying to yourself, and your body's going to have a physical reaction. You're going to get sick. You're going to feel bad. You're not even going to know why, because if you tell yourself a lie, you are physically hurting yourself. And like the name of my program is Learning to Love Yourself. And if you're not authentic and you don't know who you are and how to be honest with yourself, how to set boundaries with other people who are maybe they're being negative or they're taking advantage of you. There's a phrase that givers have to put limits on what they're giving because takers don't put limits on what they're taking. So
Nope.
like you have to learn how to protect yourself first. And I would call that fawn thing. That's you have to take care of you, and you have to be honest. There's so many people that try to take care of everybody around them, but they don't know how to take care of themselves. And if you're doing that, it's we get that example every time we get on a plane. They tell us, hey, you need to put that oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your passenger, your kid or whoever, because if you don't take care of yourself first, you're gonna die of lack of oxygen. You won't even be able to get the mask on anybody else. So by taking care of ourselves, we are literally putting ourselves in a situation where we take care of everybody else. But most everybody that I meet and that I work with, they're doing that in reverse. They're trying to take care of everybody else, and they're not putting themselves on an equal playing field. I'm not saying put yourself above everybody, but at least an equal playing field. That would be a great place to start.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's true. Everybody, I mean, I understand sometimes that can almost come across, it can almost fool you as being like, oh, no, that's humility. I want to make sure I'm not, putting myself above others and all that stuff. And some people, die on that hill. It's like it's like the busyness epidemic. It's like, you're supposed to be busy, but that's really a red flag. If you're really that busy, it's not a badge of honor. It's a red flag. Same thing with this fawn thing, state of mind. You're actually doing more damage to yourself than you think.
Yeah.
By being in that state. Yeah.
There's a week in my program dedicated to learning to how to love yourself. And I'll share an exercise out of that, which is basically, I know you're close with your wife, so I'll use that as an example. So let's act like your wife was going to leave her body for the next 6 months, and you were going to live her life for the next 6 months. Whew. You would imagine that how you wake up in the morning, when you look in the mirror as your wife, what are you going to say to yourself? How are you going to see yourself? You see yourself as beautiful, or are you going to have negative self-talk? If your wife's been wanting to work out or start a new project, would you move forward over the next 6 months and do any of those things? She's been wanting to eat better or do something better in her life. How would you eat for her? How would you foster her relationships with her friends and whatever? And so you go through this exercise of living that, and then at the end of it, you go, all right, now what about you? Right. How would you, if you would do all those things for your wife, what about you, Jeff? Are you willing to do those same things for you? And everybody, for some people, it hits them like a ton of bricks. Like, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything for everybody else, but I wouldn't do any of these things for me. And especially the looking in the mirror thing. Most people, they see ugly, stupid, unworthy, unlovable, and they can't see the beauty that you can see in your wife, right? If she could just take what's in your head and say that, right? And the same thing with my wife and everybody else's wife. Your wife may be the most healthiest person on the planet. So I'm using it as a metaphor here because everybody for the most part is having this experience of, they know how to love everyone else, but they're not willing to do those things for themselves.
Right. Well, and I know there's things that she was just telling me the other day, she's like, yeah, man, I need to, I'd really like to stop doing this and start, and like, of course, there's always things in your mind that you know that you need to change, whether it's what you're eating or how much you're sleeping or what you should or shouldn't be doing or whatever. But you're always your own worst critic. And so when you're talking to yourself, you can be harsh. And then when you're talking to, like, I would never, some of the things I say to myself, I would never say out loud to my wife,
Exactly.
ever in a million years, or my kids, but it's so funny how that works. You got to, like you said, you got to get to a point that the value is, you're thinking higher of that, because you should be. Yeah.
Some of the best advice I got, and I don't remember which yogi, but I get random clips from this guy or that guy or whatever. Some of the best advice that I've ever gotten from anybody is, as I'm on this spiritual journey and I'm digging up old stuff, and I feel like I'm on this roller coaster of progress and then failure and progress and failure, and I mess up. It's just to be kind to myself, just to be nice to myself, just cut myself some slack. Don't be so hard on me. And I really took it to heart when that hit me. It was like a ton of bricks. Like anybody else going through what I was going through, I would be like, hey, man, you got this. Get back on your horse. You got it. But I wasn't doing that to me. So when I started to reframe that for myself, it's like I started going miles ahead, because I just wasn't beating myself up. All those negative thoughts I was having were causing me to be held back, instead of just going, you know what? You forgive yourself. You're trying, get back on the horse. Let's make some progress. Enjoy the moment. It's not that bad. Look in the rearview mirror for a second and take stock in how far I've actually came. Give yourself a little bit of an attaboy and get back on the horse and move on. Be kind to yourself. But it's hard for us to do that, to get to a place where we can even have that type of a thought.
Right. Well, and because when you get into that attitude, it's like it just piles on, and it's almost hard to see which direction's up anymore, So it is a discipline. It is to rise above that and know that there is more to it than that, and stop beating yourself up,
I mean, it's literally as simple as just having positive, compassionate thoughts versus having negative thoughts. And it sounds simple, but we all know that all these random thoughts, they seem uncontrollable. But to give everyone hope, they are controllable. I am 100% proof you can control all the crazy thoughts. Now, it takes practice. Just like if you're going to go run a marathon, you're not going to be able to run 26 miles tomorrow. But if you start practicing every day, you're going to build up and build up. And in no time, you're going to feel like you can physically get out there and do some serious running. But you just got to put in the work.
Right. Well, and you've said the word. I mean, there's a difference between simple and easy.
Yeah.
A lot of things are simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. It's going to space is pretty simple. You get enough propulsion behind you, you launch into space, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So you gotta keep that in mind. So you don't beat yourself up when it doesn't get easier, and so.
Yeah, you got to stay that course. I coach a lot of people, life coach, and I coach them through this program. And I've gotten to the point where I can tell when somebody comes to me on the front end if they mean it or not. And it's usually because they have this attitude like, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're pissed off about it. They don't care about nothing. They're mad. They're like, I am tired of living this way. That's the one that's gonna push through the hard work, because we didn't get in a place of anxiety and depression in a matter of a year or 6 months or 10 weeks or whatever my program is. It's going to take some time. Anxiety can get cured in a matter of a week or two if you follow simple things, but depression, like, you got a 2-year journey to get to the other side. And then it just depends on how much more joy you want. You can keep going and constantly improve and make it better.
Love it. Yeah, it's true. It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna go to one more break. I feel like this is a good spot. And then when we come back, I'm kind of curious about a couple things, but I'm gonna wait till the other side of the break. But seriously, guys, stick around. We get a little bit time left, and you don't want to miss it. So stick around. We'll see you on the other side.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hey friends, this is Ben Hummel. I'm the host of the Genius Way Show, where you'll learn to access your inner gifts, talents, and callings and how to express them out in the world. Join me here each Sunday at noon Pacific time on the Achieve TV network, right here on E360 TV.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Time flies when you're having fun, man. We only have like 10 or 12 minutes left, so let's make the most of it. I'm going to put this QR code back up here, and I'm going to do this first. If you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, light bulb just went off, or I have a question, or what the heck are you talking about? I don't think you're right on this, or whatever. If you have a question for Mike, just throw a comment on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, and we can get back to you. He can get back to you. You can address it and talk to you. Also, this QR code right here will lead you to his website, which will have everything you could possibly need to get in touch with him and start going down the road a little bit, man, and let him help you. So, so just out of curiosity, if somebody were I mean, what am I trying to, I have it in my head. What's the first thing you would say to somebody that's like tiptoeing towards that spot where they're depressed, they're anxious, they don't know what to do, they're trying to figure out like all this stuff. What's that first thing that's like snaps them out of it just enough so that you can talk to them and get some, because sometimes it takes a shock, right?
The first thing that I like to do is just try to bring people into the present moment. Show them, give them a moment of peace by bringing their attention into the present moment. And then they have this aha moment. Wait a minute, I'm all of a sudden, I just came in here to talk to you, and all of a sudden I feel good. I'll mess with folks and we'll play the grateful game for a few minutes. We'll just manually take them into a drug-induced happy for just a minute. It's corny, but if you play the grateful game with somebody, it'll work good. I actually started doing that the first time with my kid when he was 7 years old. He came upstairs and he was freaking out because the boogeyman was like, "Oh, you're in the fear bucket. We can get you over here." And then we developed this little game where we play the grateful game by just going back and forth. And we still play it 3 years later whenever he's having a moment. But he needs to bring his attention back into the present moment. It's simple. You just start talking about what you're grateful for, and all that fear-based stuff just goes away, and you come back into the present moment. The drug in your head starts shifting, and all of a sudden you're happy. But so to answer your question, some breathing tools, the same stuff the Navy SEALs use. I teach people a little bit of tools. Bring your attention into the present moment. You get a piece of like, okay, wait a minute. I can stop this for just a second. I can, especially with anxiety, it's so quick and easy to just make anxiety go whoop, bring it down. Just using the Navy SEALs box breathing. If you do that for 2 minutes while you're having a panic attack, it's gone.
Yeah.
It brings it back down to zero. The body just kind of says, whoa, wait a minute, it's resetting. Everything's calm, everything's good. And all the panic just kind of comes back down to ground. So that's when somebody comes and approaches me and they're upset, and I can visually tell it. 90% of the time I can physically feel it. I'm in touch with their energy and my energy. Get within 12 feet of anybody. If they're negative or they're having that stuff, most people don't realize, but it's being transferred. If you're within 12 feet, it's triggering you. You may start to feel horrible because they're feeling horrible, and vice versa. If you're having a great day, you're going to make somebody else have a great day. So,
Nice.
yeah, if somebody comes to me, that's the first thing I do is just try to give them that hope that they need, that it can physically happen. And what I'm saying is, it's not a belief. Don't believe in me. Like, know it. Like, you experience a piece of joy in the present moment, and then you leave there going, all right, well, maybe there's something to this.
Nice. That's awesome. And if I know I don't want to like give away give everything away here, because I know you want people to go, because there's more to it, and I know that once they dive into the program, it's going to be so beneficial for them. But what's one thing, one small shift that somebody could do today, that could bring them closer to that? That's like get them into that mindset.
One thing that they could do today is, honestly, the most powerful thing that anybody could do is just to start a daily gratitude practice. Start your day out every day writing for 10 minutes. It's going to do what I just talked about, and it's going to shift you manually into the love bucket. I've got a girl that's went through the program about 9 months ago, and she's transformed. She's a very young girl. She was dealing with a lot of trauma. Her parents were addicted to crack. She ended up having to live with her grandparents, and she's had a lot of stuff, and she's came miles. And it's still part of her daily practice. Sometimes she'll realize at noon that she's feeling funky, something's off. Like, oh, I haven't done my gratitude. She'll stop whatever she's doing, go right back to her gratitude and do it. And, she came back to me about a week ago, just came into my office, sat down. She just wanted to give me an update, talking about on Father's Day, which would have normally been a trigger for her. And her mom was going off, and she just kind of slyly looked at her mom and said, hey, what you're going through right now is not triggering me. I'm not going to engage with it. And she just calmly, politely told her mom she wasn't going to engage in any of this negativity, left the situation, came back the next day. Her mom apologized. She never got excited. She never got emotional through the entire situation. And a year prior to that, it would have been a fight, a blow up, a whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And she was able to just stay in the moment, stay aware of her emotions, and separate from that, protect herself, realize her mom needed to be forgiven immediately, and she was able to do that, and then process the information, put herself in a place where her mom needed to sleep on it, come back the next day, and they were good. And those type of stories is literally using these simple tools, because when you constantly are in a state of gratitude, when somebody takes you out of it, you're on high alert. You know it immediately. And so but it's a practice. You've got to constantly practice putting yourself in that state. So when somebody takes you out of it, you get shook and you're aware, because that awareness allows you to now take action to not engage with it. Because if you're not aware that you're now in that state, then you can't do anything. Because most of us live our lives in a state of negativity. And so there's nothing to trigger you to think, oh, I got to pull myself back away from this and separate from this, because it's a constant state of negativity. So doing a simple gratitude can literally change your life. A gratitude journal, daily practice, just write the top of your thing, I'm grateful for, and just start writing for 10 minutes. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be the smallest little thing. I'm grateful for my fish. I'm grateful for my bird feeder and the birds that visit me. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. Just start writing anything that you could be grateful for. There's literally thousands of things, but we never focus on them. There's people that can't see. Have you ever seen one of these videos when they give a guy that's colorblind those glasses and they
Right? Yeah.
thrown in or crying? And
Right?
you and I can see in color, and we take it for granted all day long. Like, so we could be grateful that we see in color, and we never even think of it. There's literally thousands of things to be grateful for in the present moment, but we just don't focus on because we're focusing on a negative thing. So the best thing that anybody could do is just do a gratitude journal. It'll change your life just like that.
I love that. That's awesome. And everybody's got a notebook sitting around somewhere they're not using. Just doesn't have to be anything fancy. Don't go too crazy. You know, that's so cool.
Where's mine at? I got one here. This is what I use. I just, and I still do it. I still do it. If I'm not just gleaning with joy, and I'm like, something's going on here, and I don't have time to dive in and fix what it is. Here I go out, and then boom, I'm there.
There it is. That's awesome. Who knew it would be so simple, right?
That's so cool. It can be, but it is work because you have to go to work for 10 minutes. You have to physically do the work when your brain's saying, this is stupid. I don't want to do this. But you put in the work, and then you will see the benefits. 100% of everyone who does it will feel good for 10 to 20 minutes afterwards every single time.
I love that. I love that. Try it out, everybody. Let us know what you think. Yeah, seriously. Shoot us an email or comment on the show or whatever. Comment on Facebook or YouTube. Let us know. That'd be cool. That'd be interesting to hear. But man, hey, Mike, we're out of time. This is the fastest hour of the day for sure. But I'm so thankful that we got to do this, man. Thank you so much for being here with me and with our audience and just thank you for your story and everything, man. I appreciate it.
I'm grateful for you. Help me share my story and help people, bring hope to their lives that they don't have to suffer. So you're doing a great thing, and I appreciate you, Jeff.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, everybody, man. Oh, I'm about to take that down. All right, scan the QR code. Scan it. Do it. I'm going to take it down. Don't worry. If you missed it, you can just go back and watch the episode again. It'll be good. Thank you for being here, everybody. This is awesome. I always learn something new, or I'm reminded. Today, I was reminded of a couple things that I should probably be doing that I've kind of been a slacker on. So thanks, Mike. It's great. Join us for our next show, which will be on Tuesday, July 15th. Good Lord, I can't believe it's already in July. Here we are. If this is your first time, thank you for being here. If you've been watching since the beginning, thank you. We're so grateful that you're here and share this episode out. If this is your new favorite episode, awesome. Share it out. It might be somebody else's too. They just don't know it yet. So like, share, subscribe, follow all the things on the social media on Facebook and YouTube. And in fact, I think you can even set a reminder to tell you when the next episode will air on YouTube. So then you'll never miss an episode. So anyway, have an amazing day. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time with another incredible guest on Tuesday, July 15th. And until then, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.